All right, so on this video, I want to walk you through the sales retention tracking sheet. This is one of the most powerful mechanisms you can put in place, right? I really believe that running a business without a clear target is a recipe for stagnation and failure. So whether you're already at 7 figures or you're just trying to get your agency off the ground, one of the most important things you can do is set a clear target out into the future and put a tracking mechanism in place so that you can see how you're progressing towards the accomplishment of that goal. And when it comes to running an agency, the most important target is how many clients do we have? How much recurring revenue do we have? And that boils down to how many clients are we landing and how many clients are we losing, sales and retention. So that's why we call this our sales and retention tracking sheet. Ideally, over time, you would be able to track years as separate tabs and see how many clients you thought you were going to land, how many clients you actually landed, track your churn rate, and everything else. So let me pull up this spreadsheet and I'll kind of walk you through it. Usually you're going to start with this goal tab over here. There's a separate video that I'll record that walks you through that, kind of your starting point quarterly, and then you've got the sales retention tracking sheet itself. So what I want you to do is make a copy of this. If it didn't automatically make a copy, go File, Make a Copy. And then if you could, share this to me. So you share this to josh@sevenfigureagency.com. That way I can track along with you. If you want to keep this private, feel free to keep it private. But I encourage you to share it that we have some additional accountability associated with it. So the main place I want you to go to is right here in this starting point document. Regardless of where you're at in your agency, regardless of where you're starting, you'd come over here to starting point and put in your monthly recurring revenue. I'm going to zoom just a little bit so it's easier to see. So you're going to start here. What is your current monthly recurring revenue? So you put in whatever it is. Let's just say you're at $55,000 a month recurring. You type that in. How many clients do you have? So what I'm looking for here is how many recurring clients do you have on retainer right now? So let's just say you've got 35 recurring clients. That's your base at this particular point in time. And then what's your average monthly fee? Like, what does a client pay for your services on a monthly basis? Could be $1,000, could be $2,000, could be $5,000 on average. What's the main program that you sell? So I'm just going to say, let's just say it's $1,800 per month. And then the next question down here is, what's the average loss value? So if right now a client cancels and your average is $1,800, then maybe it's $1,800, right? However, if you've got like a maintenance program of some sort, maybe they drop down from $1,800 to $300 a month, right? So then it would be, when we lose a client, it drops down $1,500, right? It really depends upon your scenario. I do recommend having some type of drop sell, so even if they cancel, hey, we got to maintain the site and the tracking and, well, you know, all of this other stuff we set up for you, that's $350 a month, right, as an example. So if you don't have that, then you just, whatever the value of the client canceling is what you would put there. All right, then we're going to go in and we're going to put the monthly recurring goal, which is going to automatically pull. So we're not going to type that in. Just know that, like, these are the main things we need to modify in order to get this party started. So that's it. Right here, we've entered this stuff up here. Again, this is going to be automatically and dynamically updated. So then we can go to this next tab. And depending upon where you're starting in the year, you're going to have to play with this a little bit differently. Assuming we're starting in January, which I know isn't always the case, it's going to pull in and say you started the year at 35 clients and 55,000, right? That's pulling directly from, that's pulling directly from over here. Now, the next thing I want you to do is recognize there's basically going to be two things. How many clients do we expect to sell per month? And how many clients do we expect to churn per month? And the number of clients you want to sell per month should either be based on your past experience, what you're kind of seeing on average, and obviously if you're part of a 7-figure agency and we're rolling out new strategies and techniques, ideally we want to see that number increase. But how many clients are we going to sell per month? And then how many clients do we expect to churn per month? And one of the big mistakes I made early in the agency was we just focused on how many clients we were going to sell, and it looked great on a spreadsheet. We didn't expect any churn at all. And so as we grew and the number of churn clients per month started to increase, it was like, man, we're not hitting any of these targets, but the sales targets are being hit. Well, there's going to be some churn. And Usually it's somewhere between 3 and 5% if you run a nice type shit. Could be as much as 10 to 15% if there's some issues with your delivery or issues with your sales process. That's a whole nother conversation. But you could probably put safely a 5% of your base as your churn. So let's just say, just as back of the math, in case you didn't have a number that you knew to put in here, I'm going to pull up the calculator. Hopefully you guys will be able to see this. I'm not sure if you will. But let's say you get 35 clients. And like we're going to go, let's assume we're somewhere in the middle there. We're at a 5% monthly churn. We're going to lose somewhere between 1 and 2 clients per month. I would probably round that up, in this case, to 2 clients every single month. And then, you know what, if you're doing better than that, hey, high fives. High fives all around. If you're doing worse than that, that's a problem, right? Okay, so let's just say I'm going to anticipate 2 churn clients per month. And so I'm going to go through here and in the goal column, I'm going to fill this in. 2 clients, 2 clients, 2 clients, 2 clients, 2 clients. So that's what we're doing here. We're starting with our churn number all the way across. Bam, 2 clients all the way across. Now, you're either going to pick a sales target out of the air, or you're going to use this goal setting sheet right here, which will help drive this process. So current monthly recurring revenue, let's say we're 35,000. We want to get to 83,000 in monthly recurring as quickly as possible. Our average monthly fee is 1,800. We're closing about 25%. If you don't know what your average closing ratio is, you can use 25%. If you're already closing at 50 or 60 or whatever you track on a consistent basis, feel free to put that number in. How many months are left in the year? So let's just assume we're looking over the next 12 months, right? Realistically, we want to get to 7 figures over the next 12 months. The red column should automatically do the math, right? So at $1,800 a month, we're going to need 27 additional clients, and we're going to need 3 clients per month, and probably 12 strategy sessions per month to get 3 clients per month. That's assuming no churn. So in your particular case, based on what we just looked at, your average churn is going to be 2 per month. So you probably need to shoot for a target of 5. I understand that's a little bit confusing, but that's how I would arrive at this number. So I'm going to say 5. 5 clients per month. All right. So this now is plotting out. We're assuming about a 5% monthly churn ratio. We want to make that better, but it's a good target. And we know if we want to get to 7 figures at our $1,800 a month price point, we need to sell 5 clients per month. You could choose a number, a different number, but really what we want to enter here is how many clients do we expect to land every month, and how many clients do we expect to lose every month. This will give you a great breakdown of your target and kind of how that breaks down by month, how that rolls up by quarter. So let me walk you through what we have on this sheet. So it's every month of the year, and we've got goal, actual, and delta. So the goal, obviously, is the target that you're shooting for. The actual is what you actually did, what the actual outcome was. And then the delta is the difference between where you are at that particular month or at the end of that month and the reality of the situation. I'm going to kind of show you how you track this over time. But even just having done this, I'm going to go ahead and say we're shooting for a 5% churn rate, 95% there, and we could update that across all of these columns. I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. So what this will show us is if we land 5 clients at $1,800 per month, that would increase our base revenue to 61, but we're going to lose 2 clients at the 1,800 or whatever number we put in there per month. That brings us from 35 clients to 38 clients, a net of 2, and increases us from 55K to 61K. And if we can consistently do that over the course of the year, we would go from 62 to 67 to $73,000 in monthly recurring revenue by March. And then we go to 79, 85, 91 by June, all the way through to the end of the year. Our goal, our outcome would be $127,000 with 71 active clients. hopefully that makes sense, right? It just kind of breaks it down for you over time. And if you look at these quarterly breakdowns, quarter one, we want to get to 73, quarter two, 91, quarter three, 109, quarter four, 127, right? And I would want you to override the actuals over here so that it's going to be based in where you're actually at. Or as you enter this in, you'll be able to see it. So hopefully you're tracking with me so far. What we did was we went to the starting point and we filled in these details. Then we went to the sales retention tracking sheet and we went to the goal column and we put in the number of sales we're shooting for every month and we put in the number of clients we expect to churn every single month. And that gave us a very clear breakdown of our target per month and per quarter, and even for the year if we wanted to go so far. Now, that's your targets, right? And now you know where you're shooting. You want to bring the whole team in on this. Let them know, hey, here's what we're trying to accomplish. Here's the goal. We can't lose more than 3 clients per month or 2 clients per month. We're shooting for a 95% monthly retention rate. As the month goes on, what you want to do is you want to fill in your actual. So down here is a column to enter actual data, right? So let's say it's January, it's the 5th, we got our first sale, and it was Bob Jones Plumbing, and the amount was $1,800, just like we expected, right? Now, our actual shows one client won $1,800 per month. Now, let's say later that month, we get Linda Long Plumbing and Drains. And that client was actually a little bit larger. They're $2,500 per month. Now we got 2 clients and $43,000 in monthly recurring revenue. So you can see this auto updates the actual and the delta. So we've got 2 clients, $43,000, but we're still off by 3. We still need 3 more clients this month to hit the target. And the delta is $4,700 a month. So hopefully that makes sense, kind of how that tracks. Now, at the same time, let's just say somewhere in the month, S&M Septic cancels out, and they were paying us $950 a month, right? For whatever reason, they're a little bit lower value client. Now we've lost 1 and $950. So it's going to show now our losses. We can lose 1 more, and our revenue is $22,000 off in terms of how much we can still lose here. This also tracks our churn rate. So we can look right here and see our monthly churn right now, because we lost that 1 client, is 2.37. If we lost another client, Jones Co., and let's say they were $1,900 per month, now we've lost $2,800. We've hit our target already in terms of loss pretty much. Our churn rate is 5.26%, and our retention rate is down to 94%. Our net growth is only 1,450 because, we have 4,000 in new revenue, but we lost $4,500. We lost $2,800 in revenue. Hopefully this makes sense. And so you would just do this column every single month. Here's how many clients we won and how much they were worth. Here's how many clients we lost and how much they're worth. This is based exclusively on recurring revenue. So if you sold a project in here, doesn't matter. If you upsold a client, I don't track it here. That's good to have. Obviously, maybe you track that somewhere else. We're just looking for new revenue. That way we're tracking our monthly recurring revenue growth or reduction over time. And so what you have is a nice, elegant process to track the goals and targets for the year, where you expect to be per quarter, per year, and then also a place to track the actuals of this as you go. So hopefully this makes sense. Again, this is something I use at Plumbing and HVAC SEO basically from the beginning. We set goals, we tracked it. What you measure gets done and always improves. And this is one of those things we've rolled out to the 7-figure agency community, and all of our members that have gone to 7 figures and multiple 7 figures not only use this, but they use it every month. And as they get sales, they're plugging it in. And they're bringing their team to say, hey, look, goal is 5 clients. We're going to lose no less than 2. Let's make a contest around it. Let's track this activity. And when you've got a clear target and the whole team is aligned towards that target, energy flows and results follow. So that's the sales retention tracking sheet. Hopefully this makes sense. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and let me know. glad to kind of walk you through it. Like the three columns you're going to use for the most part for this are the quarterly targets. That's the starting point where you enter this information. Then you're going to go in here, you're going to enter your sales and your losses, those two numbers for each of the goal columns. You're going to then on a monthly basis track in how many clients you won, how many clients you lost. If you need help figuring out how many clients I need and how many strategy sessions I need, you would come over here to the goal setting column, and you can be as aggressive as you want, but this will help you figure out how many clients you need. I would add how many clients you're expecting to churn to that number. So that gives you a more realistic thing you would need to have in order to hit that target. Over here, you also have KPI projector, which helps you figure out how many strategy sessions you need, quarterly targets if you just want to make it more granular for a 3-month window of time. A little bit of a model review, kind of the key things you want to make sure you have in place to bring that into reality. And then this revenue ceiling formula, which is a conversation for another day. So that's the sales retention tracking sheet. The only other question I get from time to time is, well, it's March. How would I make this work for me in March? I don't want to go back, or it's May, or it's July, right? Right now, as I'm recording this, it happens to be July. So let's go in and let's plot this for July, just so you kind of understand the logic behind how it works. So if I were to say, I want this to start in July, I would come in here starting point, and I would change this to starting point July 1st, right? So let's just do July 1st, right, of the year, right? So whatever year it is. And then you're going to come over here to the tracking. And all you're going to do is you're going to update the actuals from this month to that month. So you're going to copy the cells from the first month, January, and you're going to bring that into July, and you're going to drop it right there. Now, ultimately, you could wipe out all of the other columns, like zero them out, wouldn't make a difference, because now it's going to base everything based on this new actual. Actually, you need to do the same thing with the goals column. So July, now you can see here, it's going to take us from 55K to 61K, 61K to 67K, 67 to 73. So we're no longer going to be as far ahead, right? We're just basically adding 5 clients, losing 2 clients. By the end of July, we're ideally at $91,000. We're over 7 figures, which is great, but that's how you would adjust it. You just take these first 2 columns and you move them to whatever month you happen to be in when you're updating this sheet. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, you've got the sales retention tracking sheet. This is how you set it up. This is how you manage it. Work this on a consistent basis. Be consistent tracking what you want to improve, and you will watch the outcomes follow.